highest of 7 hills in Florida's capital city, covering every corner of the Big Bend. This is the award-winning News 20 at 5 Live.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of News 20 at 5. I'm Jacoria Burns.
And I'm Giovanni Hampton.
The Florida House will vote on whether to end the use of red light cameras. The House Appropriations Committee voted to approve a bill that would ban red light cameras in July 2019. Opponents of House Bill 4027 says red light cameras help traffic safety. The bill heads to full House next. The Moultrie, Georgia Police Department are investigating 2 shootings that left 1 dead and another person injured. The first shooting occurred at First Avenue and Southwest 7th Street. The second shooting happened nearby at the 100 block of Southwest 4th Street. Both victims were identified as black males. Colquitt County officials confirmed that 1 man was dead but would not release his identity. MPD asked that the Georgia Bureau of Investigations take the lead role in investigating of the shootings.
Yesterday, Tallahassee residents had their last chance to register for the Florida presidential preference primary election. Multimedia journalist Shakoria Burns has the story.
You're good to go. We'll send you a new card.
Residents were urged by the Leon County Office of Elections to change their party affiliation from independent to either of the 2 major political parties. Supervisor of Elections Ion Sancho discusses more as to why it is important for small party affiliations to change their affiliation for this election.
If you do not have that party affiliation by your name by midnight tonight, you're not eligible to vote in a closed primary, i.e. Florida.
Because Florida is in a closed primary state, only voters who are registered members of the respected political party candidates, such as Republicans or Democrats, are allowed to vote in the presidential preference primary election. With over 30,000 residents in Leon County registered as independent for their party affiliation, many Tallahassee residents have taken action in order to have their voices heard in the primary election. Residents such as Charlene Walker took the initiative to change parties in order to vote. Walker tells us more about her story.
The last several elections that I wanted to vote for someone that was not in the party I was affiliated with.
According to the Leon County Office of Elections, over 1,000 Tallahassee residents were able to change their affiliation before the deadline. For News 20 at 5, I'm Jacoria Burns.
For more information about voters registration, please visit leonvoters.org. Tallahassee Community College will be opening a new site in March. According to TCC officials, the Gadsden Center will be operational by March 22nd. Located on Pat Thomas Highway, the new Gadsden Center will offer GED preparation, English courses, and classes that are currently being held at the TCC's Quincy House. In addition to being steps away from the Gadsden County Career Source office, the center will provide programs that will aid students seeking job placement.
When we return, a man faces up 5 years in prison after being convicted for animal cruelty. Also find out which National Railroad passenger service makes a stop in the state capital. Stay tuned. You're watching News 20 at 5. Welcome back. I'm Jacoria Burns. A Putnam County, Florida man was found guilty of animal cruelty Tuesday after throwing a puppy from a moving car. 42-year-old Michael Anthony Dalton faces up to 5 years in prison after witnesses says Dalton hit his girlfriend's puppy several times in the head before tossing it out of a moving truck window. The puppy was found with a broken neck in nearby woods and later died. A jury deliberated for 15 minutes before finding Dalton guilty. An Amtrak passenger train will be stopping in Tallahassee tomorrow. City Commissioners Scott Maddox, Nancy Miller, and Curtis Richardson are boarding the first passenger train to pass through Tallahassee since Hurricane Katrina. The Amtrak is set to stop at Railroad Avenue Station tomorrow as part of a 14-stop train tour hosted by Southern Rail Commission. According to the SRC, the plan is to restore the train route along the Gulf of Mexico from New Orleans to Orlando with a stop in Tallahassee. If Senate Bill 68 is passed in Florida, concealed weapons will be allowed on all college campuses and universities. Multimedia journalist Taylor Watson has more on the story.
Due to the recent turmoil of violent crimes on campus, many pro-gun activists have highly suggested both students and faculty should be allowed to carry concealed weapons on campus. House Representative Barbara Watson expressed her thoughts about the safety and the well-being of students on campus.
My opponents and members of my colleagues of the House of Representatives believe that having additional guns on campus can make people safe. But if you're unable to carry a gun, then it is not making you safe. It certainly means that now a freshman can be vulnerable to a senior.
The fight to keep guns off of the campuses of Florida's public colleges and universities continues into a new academic year and into a new legislative session. FAMU Police Department Lieutenant Rollins states ways that the school can be protected if this bill passes.
Our officers, and that goes through the proper training, and then also to educate our students and our faculty. And again, as I was saying, that this is a new territory that's going to affect each and everybody.
The Florida Sheriff's Association is taking the initiative to address the problem, but the proposal stops short of Florida becoming an open carry state. For News 20 at 5, I am Taylor Watson.
For more information on Senate Bill 68, visit flsenate.gov.
Coming up in sports, find out what area high schools are top contenders in this year's basketball state championship games. We'll have that and more next in sports. You're watching News 20 at 5. Welcome back. I'm Ashley Jackson with your sports. It's playoff time, and the Rickards and Godby boys basketball regional semifinal matchup last night did not leave fans disappointed. With 4 seconds to go, Rickards head coach Eli Bryant called a timeout, but Rickards was out of timeouts, resulting in 2 free throws for Godby. Cougars guard Quan Jackson sunk both shots, giving Godby a 49-47 victory. The Cougars advanced to Friday's regional final against Bishop Kenny. And the FAMU DRS girls basketball team is on the brink of another state championship. However, the girls trailed Covenant Christian halfway through the first quarter in yesterday's Class 2A state semifinal. But senior guard and the University of Louisville signee Jasmine Jones led the team to a 76-55 victory in Lakeland. Jones finished with a double-double, scoring 34 points and grabbing 12 rebounds. The Lady Rattlers will defend their 2A state champion title tonight at 8 p.m. The Florida State Seminoles basketball team and the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets plan to dribble it out on the court. The two teams will meet tonight at the Donald L. Tucker Civic Center. This comes after the Seminole loss to the Miami Hurricanes. The team is 5 games away from the ACC tournament, which begins in March in Washington, D.C. The Seminoles currently have a 16-9 record. The FAMU Rattlers baseball team plans to make a striking entrance at the 2016 season. The Rattlers will open up this year's season against Marshall University's Thundering Herd this Friday. This is the second time the two teams open the season with a face-off at Moore Kittles Field. The Rattlers have 14 non-conference games ahead of the MEAC Championship, and 20 players from 2015's MEAC Championship team will return for the games. And I'm Ashley Jackson with your sports. Back to you all at the desk. Coming up after the break, find out what local universities celebrated Black History Month by speaking to the community. Stay tuned. You're watching News 20 at 5.
Black History Month has kicked off at Florida A&M University with a unique evening convocation held in Jay Gaither Gym, Special guest Raheel Tesfa Miriam spoke on the topic of Black empowerment. She spoke on essence of what it means to be Black in 2016. Between the audience and gospel choir, those in attendance seemed to be left with a desire to serve the community with a better understanding of culture and self. Well, Giovanni, that convocation was really awesome. You know, the gospel concert, the choir was really great and they sung wonderfully.
Right, and you know what I really enjoyed is how Dr. Elmira Magnum is making sure that convocation is a tradition at Florida A&M University and that we stick to that tradition and we allow the gospel choir and the band to show us their talents and use all of their emotions in the songs. Exactly. Well, that's going to do it for us tonight. I'm Javani Hampton.
And I'm Jacoria Burns. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at News 20 at 5. Have a great night.